The holiday season brought a familiar spark back into Kyle Richards' Encino home, one filled with warmth, noise, teasing, laughter, and the easy comfort of a family that has been through changes but continues to move forward with grace. More than 2 years after publicly confirming their separation, Kyle and Mauricio came together once again to celebrate Thanksgiving as a united family. Their longtime Encino property, purchased in 2017, became the backdrop for a gathering filled with sentimental moments and cozy touches that made it feel like old times, even as their lives evolve in new directions. A Thanksgiving that felt like home. The celebration included some of Kyle's closest friends, like her longtime confidant Justin Sylvester, along with the couple's daughters, Portia, Sophia, and Alexia, who now brings her husband, Jake, to the family festivities. The home was loud, lively, and warm, with overlapping conversations drifting through the kitchen and living room. By the evening, everyone had gathered around Kyle's famously extravagant Christmas tree. The final ornaments were placed with care, and Mauricio, comfortably stretched out on the couch, laughed and chatted with his daughters while watching them finish the decorations. It was a moment Kyle captured proudly for social media, her family, still strong and connected. A supportive friendship after change. Though their marital status has shifted, Kyle and Mauricio have continued to show the world that family rhythms don't have to fall apart. Over the past 2 years, they've appeared together for birthdays, weddings, and milestone moments, always putting their children first and maintaining the kind of connection that feels less like an ending and more like an evolution. At BravoCon 2025, Kyle again emphasized that they navigate their separation with mutual respect. Though they now live independently, they remain committed to handling everything with sensitivity and kindness. She expressed that they have accepted each other's personal journeys with understanding, even when it comes to their separate social lives. Kyle's honest reflections on love and independence. While answering fan questions, Kyle shared that she wasn't rushing back into the dating world. After more than 2 decades of marriage, she felt no urgency to make any major decisions about romance. Instead, she focused on personal growth, travel, and time with her daughters. "I'm enjoying the life I have right now," she said at the convention panel. "Changes take time, and I'm giving myself space to move at my own pace." She echoed the same sentiment during an interview in October, explaining that she's found joy in independence, weekend trips with friends, peaceful moments at home, and a slower, more intentional way of living. A hopeful look toward the future. But Kyle hasn't shut the door on a future relationship. She shared openly that she still believes in long-term partnership and that she could imagine herself getting married again someday. "I love the idea of partnership," she explained. "I'm not in that chapter right now, but I also know myself. I enjoy building a life with someone. So I don't think I'll be single forever." A family that continues to evolve. For now, Kyle and Mauricio remain a tight-knit team when it comes to family traditions. Thanksgiving reminded both of them, and everyone watching, that their bond extends beyond labels. Even as they move into new phases of life, they continue to show up for their children and maintain the familiar rhythm of shared holidays. And in a living room glowing with soft Christmas lights, surrounded by daughters who have grown into their own lives, the evening didn't feel like a reminder of the past. It felt like the beginning of a new kind of future. A future where family remains the heart of everything, no matter how life changes. A holiday season filled with new meaning. As the night stretched on and the house glowed with twinkle lights, Kyle found herself reflecting on how far her family had come. She watched her daughters bantering, teasing each other about holiday plans and swapping stories from the past year. For a moment, she simply absorbed the scene, the familiar hum of conversations happening in overlapping layers, the scent of the pine tree mixing with the remnants of Thanksgiving dinner, and the warmth of the home she had worked so hard to build. Despite all the changes, the house still felt full of life, full of love, full of hope. Mauricio, who had settled into a quieter corner of the living room, occasionally chimed in when one of the girls pulled him into a conversation. He looked relaxed, at peace, and genuinely happy to be spending the holiday surrounded by his family. It wasn't the same as years past, but it also wasn't fractured or tense. If anything, the new arrangement had softened certain dynamics. Everyone was giving each other more space, more patience, and more understanding. And that, Kyle thought, was its own kind of gift. A new rhythm for their family. In the days leading up to Thanksgiving, Kyle and Mauricio had coordinated the holiday plans the way they always had, checking in with their daughters, arranging schedules, and making sure everyone felt included. What was different now was the intention behind it. They were no longer planning as a couple, but as co-leaders of a family that still relied on both of them. And instead of forcing perfection, they both prioritized ease. Kyle handled most of the festive decor, transforming the Encino house into a holiday haven. She ordered the floral arrangements, placed candles along the staircase, and unpacked the bins of ornaments she had collected over decades. Her daughters helped her whenever they could, unwrapping decorations, fluffing garlands, and reminding her which ornaments held sentimental value. Mauricio, for his part, brought his usual lightness into the atmosphere. He cracked jokes, carried boxes, taste-tested more dishes than he probably should have, and helped keep the day flowing. When he walked in with a tray of desserts from their favorite local bakery, the girls immediately cheered. It was these small gestures, familiar, thoughtful, effortless, that made the holiday feel whole. Conversations that mattered. Later in the evening, after everyone had eaten and relaxed into post-dinner contentment, Kyle and Mauricio found themselves talking quietly near the fireplace. It wasn't a heavy conversation, nor was it one they had planned. It simply unfolded the way long relationships often do, drifting into meaningful topics without warning. They talked about their daughters first, about Portia finishing school, about Alexia settling into newlywed life, about Sofia planning her next project. They talked about the things they were proud of and the things they were learning to let go of. And soon, they found themselves acknowledging how much their dynamic had shifted over the past 2 years. "It's strange," Kyle said softly, "but I think we're figuring it out." Mauricio nodded. "We are, and I'm proud of us for trying." There were no dramatic declarations or promises of what the future might look like. Just honesty, compassion, and a shared acknowledgement that healing comes in layers, not in straight lines. For Kyle, this kind of clarity was comforting. She wasn't afraid of the unknown anymore, and she sensed that Mauricio wasn't either. They were both allowing life to unfold naturally, without forcing decisions or masking emotions. The girls' perspective. Meanwhile, their daughters were having a moment of their own in the kitchen. As they packed leftover pie into containers and teased each other over who would claim what dish, they also reflected on how their parents had handled the separation. "It's nice that we can still do this," Alexia said quietly, glancing toward the living room. Sophia nodded. "It's different, but it's still us." Portia smiled as she stacked plates. "It's like we're learning a new version of our family." For them, the night was reassuring. They saw stability where there might have been uncertainty, comfort where there could have been strain. And though they each processed the family's evolution in their own ways, they all recognized that their parents' continued unity was something they could rely on. Preparing for a new kind of December. As Thanksgiving ended and December approached, Kyle began thinking about the rest of the holiday season. She had trips planned with her daughters, gatherings with friends, and a few events related to her projects. While life had changed dramatically in recent years, this time of year always grounded her. She knew Mauricio would also have his own end-of-year plans, work commitments, charity events, and possibly more social outings. But none of that dimmed the sense of continuity their family had built. In fact, the shared holiday only strengthened it. Kyle wasn't naive about the complexities ahead. She understood that transitions don't happen overnight, and that feelings shift in unexpected ways. But she also believed deeply in the foundation she and Mauricio had established. Time, respect, and patience were helping them rebuild something healthy, something new, while still honoring their history. And for now, that was enough. Looking ahead with openness. The morning after Thanksgiving, Kyle found herself walking through the living room, the soft December sun streaming through the windows. The Christmas tree sparkled quietly, and the memories from the night before still lingered in the air. She felt something she hadn't felt in a long time, calm anticipation for the future. Her life didn't look the way she once imagined it would, but she wasn't mourning that anymore. She was embracing the freedom of writing a new chapter, one where she could take her time, explore her interests, and choose a path that felt authentic.